Welcome to Ladies of Another View on BEK, and if you didn't see, it is Monday Gun Day. Today we have Jan on set, but we also have Jamie Brecht and Clayton Peterson, and they are with, former members of the NRA committee. Just help me out here.
All right, well, my name's Clayton Peterson. I've been on here before, so people probably know me. I was the senior field rep for North and South Dakota for 10 years, running
with the NRA.
And Jamie was one of my volunteers with the Bismarck Friends of NRA, so we've known each other a while.
All right, so they're going to be on for segment 1 and 2, and then we're going to, later in the show, we're going to talk to Dan Belinsky. He actually made a movie out in the Watford City area, and that debuts, or they're going to premiere that on Friday night at the Grand Theaters. And then at the end of the show, we're going to visit with a gentleman out of Valley City. It's called Pitchfork and Hose. And basically, they talk about what's going on in the farming industry. They're going to talk about blacksmithing, gardening, that type of stuff. And it's an event in Valley City. And so we're going to have a great full day. But let's just get started, jump to it. We're with Jamie and Clayton. And you guys have this new podcast called Guns and the 701. Tell us about it.
Yep, well, Clay and I filled in on a radio show for about 6 weeks, and we were getting a lot of good reviews from people and people encouraging us to do something after we were filling in, and we decided on that. And you know, Clay and I, we live Second Amendment, gun rights, shooting, hunting, so it's pretty easy for us. And we've been doing it 8 weeks now, Clayton, right?
Yep,
We're
8 weeks. Yep.
Into it 8 weeks, and you know, it was a lot more work than we thought, but it's kind of a growing thing. We're getting a lot more people following us and watching, and we're spreading the word, and we're just, you know, getting some swag made to hand out and sell. And
sure. Now, one of the things that people are always talking about, okay, it's all about Second Amendment rights right now, and we know that the left is trying to take our guns. So just like we will do on every gun day, if you have a firearm or anything, just let's put them on the table, and if anything goes off, we'll you know, just we'll see if they shoot themselves or if maybe they just sat there the whole time.
This is the most secure place in the building right now.
yes, it
right?
is.
So anyway, it's, you know, because everyone talks about how guns are the problem, and it's not the problem. Guns are the answer, actually, to a lot of problems if we could use them safely. Absolutely. And they're great for protection and you know, hunting, gathering, we're all good at that. So
they're just another tool.
Another tool.
They're an inanimate object that doesn't hurt anybody. It's the person behind that particular object, whether it's a gun or, as we just saw in North Dakota, guy run down a guy with a car because he didn't like his views. Doesn't matter what the object is, it's going to be used either for good or for bad. It's the person.
So there are lots of people that obviously think that they aren't just inanimate objects. Are you getting any kind of pushback with your podcast?
Nope, I haven't seen any. I'll tell you what, we did some little prairie dog video. We do get some people who don't like that.
Yeah.
Because we make videos too and put them on YouTube and Facebook. But as far as just talking about gun rights and we do, you know, gun reviews and videos, and no, we haven't. Everything's been positive so far.
Well, not everything. We had one guy. He made a little comment.
Oh yeah, okay.
That something about gun violence, and of course I'm me, so I told him to get bent. And
which I approved of.
Yeah, he approved of. We're pretty blunt. And then he took his own comment down. So thing is any bad ones like that have all come from overseas. Nothing in the United States.
Right.
Really?
They're all overseas comments. We had one of our shorts, a little short video clip, go viral, I guess. Over 14,000 views in an hour. I don't really know what happened there.
Yeah,
it was kind of neat to watch. But
that's from a few years ago. Yeah, it was fun doing that one.
And yeah, I mean that was pretty cool. And all of a sudden, we did get a few negative comments there. But again, overseas.
How do you think they're finding you, though? I mean, do you think someone's pointing them in that direction? Because it'd be unusual for a startup podcast to all of a sudden have international following. So do you think someone is saying, hey, you need to get onto this and make some bad comments? Because that is done. Or
Most
is it a
everything
bot,
was positive on it, except for those few. From what I understand, and you probably know a little bit more, your buddy explained them shorts, didn't he? How they work?
Yeah, you just put it in a different category on YouTube, like shorts. It kind of copied TikTok, and that's the way I see it. And then people just go on, they can go into shorts, and they just kind of go through, and then you put tags in there of what you want, and then it kind of goes into a category where people are, then they'll stop and watch your video, and if they like it, and they'll rewatch it or they'll share it. And yeah, that one got quite a bit. But as far as what you were saying is how we got the word spread. it was just kind of word of mouth, and we just told people, our friends, and and asked them to spread it, which we appreciate because they liked what we were doing. And Clay, I think, did a few boosts on Facebook, but they put the kibosh on that on us now. So
They started shadow banning us right away.
yeah,
But then we still got over 500 followers or likes
and we
quite quickly on there. And like I said, doing a few, they'll put it on there if you pay for it, but they won't just let it happen organically.
Sure.
The YouTube channel's a different monster. I didn't do much with YouTube till now. And from what I can tell with YouTube, it's basically telling your friends and spreading the word elsewhere and then migrating to that link. And we have our link now, and we just gained one on the way up here. I seen a notification, like 138 actual subscribers. But when you go into your analytics and see where it's being shared, and it's getting 3,000 and 4,000 and 5,000 shares and
Beyond.
yeah, I mean, that's huge.
So why did you guys feel as if it was important to start a podcast like this?
Well, because the left it's a never-ending war on our Second Amendment civil rights. There's some Supreme Court cases that passed, and Clay and I pretty much said to each other, yeah, that's nice to have, but that's not going to stop them, which it obviously hasn't. I mean, the modern Democrat Party is just very anti-gun. Very few of them.
Well, it's in their platform.
Yeah, look
It
at their platform.
absolutely is in the Democrat National Communist Party's platform that they are going to ban guns and do everything they can. They did change the wording, and we brought that up on
Yeah.
the show. They changed the wording a little bit now. They don't come out and actually say it like that. They use terms like gun violence. They like that one a lot. They don't think it's an actual right, which it is. It's actually in the Constitution. So.
And again, Biden, every chance he gets when he makes a speech, he flat out says that he wants what he calls assault weapons. And now he's just saying, he says weapons. He doesn't say rifles anymore. Well, on Friday even he was speaking to a teachers union, and he's never going to quit trying to ban 9mm pistols. And by looking at these, I'll bet you half of these are 9mm. So if you got a pistol, you're not safe. 10 rounds, that's not going to be enough. They'll go lower than that. They'll keep going. But he did slip up. I did send you the link later.
I did.
He said the AR-15 is for defense of America, for God's sake. And I was like, wow, I finally agree with it.
Finally.
So there's some new restrictions that have come out today. Tell us about what that's about.
Well, yeah, and this comes actually from the NICS background. Well, that's the National Instant Background Checks. Everybody that buys a firearm through an FFL dealer has to go through this. There's no such thing as a gun show loophole, but that's a whole other subject. And this came out to all the FFL dealers that are currently, and that's why I brought it along, because I don't want to mess it up. And basically, number one is, and this goes into the NICS Denial Notification Act of 2022, upon initiating a NICS background check for persons residing outside of their state and who fall under the age of 21 in FFL, which is a federal firearms licensee, will hear or be prompted with the following message. And that message is you can see on your screen. It's the responsibility of the federal firearms licensee to verify that that individual meets the basic age requirement in the state of residence and the state of purchase pursuant to Title 18 United States Code Section 922B2. And you can read the rest of it. I'm not going to go into complete detail reading this.
So why don't we're going to take a quick break, and then I'll have you break that down a little bit further,
there.
okay? We'll be right back after this with Guns and the 701 and Monday Gun Day right here on Ladies of Another View on BEK. Welcome back to Monday Gun Day right here on Ladies of Another View.
That's never
on
going to
BEK.
get old.
Never going to get old. And here's the deal. It's been 12 minutes. We're 12 minutes into the show, and so far the guns haven't fired. And,
Amazing.
Isn't
I mean,
it?
if guns were bad, we'd all be
Gone.
We'd all be dead by
Yeah.
now, right? So let's kind of jump back into where we left off regarding the updates from the NICS with that are basically taking effect today, September 26th.
Correct. And to break it down, like I said, when you had that up there, I hope people got a chance to read it. It's really going to affect people who live on a border state, such as I do. I live in North Dakota. I have a South Dakota address. Now, if you don't have a concealed weapons permit in North Dakota, you have to go through the NICS background check system with a 4473 form that you fill out from the ATF. that could probably cause a delay because they're getting pretty picky right now as to what they're doing. And I got this right from a good friend who's an FFL. He says they're getting horrible about delays, which they can implement from that NICS system. He imagines what's going to happen here, although don't say it, but we all know what happens with government bureaucrats.
Right.
They're always looking for something. And these guys are not our friends anymore. And I imagine it's going to cause a delay or even possible denial because they're going to say if you're purchasing a firearm, especially a handgun, which you can only do as a resident from the state you live, it could come up as delayed because you have that South Dakota address. Right now, if I want one, I have a letter from my sheriff who sent this, and I have to do it with every single purchase I do on a handgun that says, yes, I am a North Dakota resident. I imagine that's going to cause some issues, and that's the big problem with this. It don't sound like anything, but I can imagine anyone who lives on the Minnesota, Wyoming, Montana, and any of these Midwest states that there's a lot of cross traffic, it's going to cause.
Well, in the last gun control bill they passed, Clay, that everybody thought wasn't much. Guess what? If there's a delay now, guess who they come talk to you?
And there's a whole bunch of stuff from what happened.
And they got more funding for that to show up at your house. If you got delayed, whether it's your fault or their electronic fault, you get a knock on the door.
Yeah, which is almost like a no-knock search.
Yeah, which there's funding in this for a lot more for that
big
too.
Time.
So let me ask you a quick question for clarification, just in case the viewers are minded like myself. You cannot go to a gun show in another state and buy a firearm?
A handgun? No. You haven't been able to do that for a long time. That had nothing to do with this.
Long rifle?
Yes, you can. But again, if you have I imagine what's going to happen is if you have, like I do, a North Dakota residency with a South Dakota address, that's what's going to put up the red flag and maybe cause them. Now, if you don't have a South Dakota address and a North Dakota residency or something like that, like I have a North Dakota driver's license.
Okay.
I have a South Dakota address because that's where all our mail comes through. I imagine that's going to cause me some issues now. I don't know. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to go buy one and see what happens.
We'll buy one just for the fun of it, just to see what happens.
Because.
All right, so then you did bring up this Gun Owners of America for fiscal year 2023. Let's take a look at that and some of the bullet points. There's 10 of them, but we'll just kind of start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Number one, massive ATF budget increases to facilitate Biden's pistol ban. Just briefly tell us about that.
Well, as anything, it's what 13% increase in the ATF, and his pistol ban is, how do you want to put it? He's going after people who live in, say, Illinois, where supposedly handguns are pretty much illegal unless you have a special permit to have one. You got to have your, the firearms ownership
FOID card.
FOID card.
So
ID.
let's
ID.
back up just a second because you said that was in Illinois. Chicago's in Illinois, right?
Yeah.
So, but isn't that like the death capital, the murder capital of
Every
the
week.
United States?
Every weekend.
With handguns most of the
Yes.
time.
But they can't have any guns.
But they're not supposed to have handguns for the most part.
But you got to realize it's Indiana's fault because they got.
Yeah. And that's what this is going to kind of encompass. 13% increase in this. They're going to try and essentially give that money to states or counties or municipalities who want to further gun restrictions. If you take the money, then you'll have to do things like red flag law or try to actually enforce this no handgun. Chicago has no handguns. You can't have them in there. You cannot own a handgun unless you're a cop or you have some other kind of
Or a
permit.
criminal.
Or
A criminal can have them.
criminals can
Well,
have
yeah,
them
cops can
anywhere,
have-
any place.
They can
Yep,
have anything
all
they
the
want.
time.
Yeah.
That's why gun-free zones don't work because the only people that follow them are law-abiding people.
Illinois has red flag laws. How's that work in the south side of Chicago every week?
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
awesome,
Every
awesome.
weekend, really horrible.
So honestly, I mean, and this is one of the big battles that we've been fighting. They're coming after law-abiding citizens.
Absolutely.
But why is that? I mean, are they afraid of
Well,
the
every
average
single
person?
nation that has went the wrong path, whether it be Nazism or communism or whatever, other than a constitutional republic, the first thing they do, confiscate the firearm. First thing Hitler did. And we know where that led. You can't control a populace if you don't take away their means of defense. And that is what this is about, period.
Well, you take them away from people that aren't on your team.
That's right. You squash opposition.
Yeah, Saddam
then
did the same thing. You got guys who are over in Iraq, they'll tell you, yeah, his boys had them, but everybody else turned them in.
That's right.
And the government is afraid of the people that are willing to stand up against a government that has become corrupt.
Absolutely. I like them being afraid of us.
Well, see,
That's how it's supposed to be.
I mean, Joe said you need an F-15, right?
He did.
Okay, because you can't do nothing with guns. Well, why does he still want our guns if we need F-15s? He shouldn't be afraid of them, right? But
Wow.
And
yeah,
let's not
he is. He
forget,
wants them.
he shipped a whole bunch of guns, AR-15s in particular, to Ukraine. If they're worthless against a big army, why'd he do that?
Right.
Yeah.
So we only have a couple minutes left, and I really want to hit the high points because
Yes.
we're running out of time. What, in 2 minutes, what else do you want to highlight on this?
Go ahead, Clayton.
Well-
You're a lot more into the technical aspects than me.
I think it's the big number 3. Well, there's a whole bunch, but number 3 here, gun confiscation law funding, and that kind of touches from the first part. They're going to give money, and they're not going to make you take it. Again, get federal money
so
out of things.
they're going to give you an incentive to turn in your gun. They're going to pay for it. Is that what you're saying?
They'll try that, or they'll fund things like red flag laws. They'll come and say, hey, Burleigh County, talk to the sheriff's office. Hey, here we got this great program, and we'll fund this, this, and this, get you some Kevlar vests. But within that, you also got to use a certain amount of it to do this.
Kevlar vests are for the deer, by the way.
Now, they're for the deer,
Yeah.
according to Biden.
It's 40 more million they're giving for red flag.
As we all
laws,
know, there's no such thing as free money. And anything
Not
comes from the
ever.
feds is going to have strings attached. They can't win. They cannot win in legislation. They're going to try to do it regulatorily. You know, unless your county has something against preventing your sheriff's office or your police force from doing it, they'll be able to do it. And then you'll have to fight it off in the court, even though they shouldn't be.
Yeah,
But we
your
don't
own
know how
money,
that-
and they're using your own money against you in the courts because they got an endless supply of it.
You know, that's why I like the idea of some of these counties, especially a sanctuary county. We have it in the state. We got that passed. But counties need it too. And then in that, you put in there that your sheriff department cannot use any of his budget for it. And he can't take money from the feds. You can tell them what they can have. You can't tell them what to
That
do.
should go down to the city level too, in my
Absolutely.
opinion. Every layer you can get against Second Amendment civil right infringement.
Absolutely.
Sounds like we need to have some meetings in town. I know that the Friends of NRA are having a banquet here coming up
Yep.
very soon.
We'll be
October
there.
28th over in Mandan at the old Seven Seas. I think the doors open at 5:30 p.m. Central.
And how can they find tickets?
Easiest place, go to friendsofnra.org/ND. I haven't lost my touch, have I?
No, pretty good. It's pretty good. I like that.
All right. So, and what can they expect over there?
Oh, there's going to be lots of guns, lots of raffles, great meal. I would say that the camaraderie is probably the most
Yeah, you
fun.
meet a lot of like-minded people over there who love freedom and love their guns, and it's great. It's good.
Bring a
people
lot
over
of
there.
money.
Hey, amazing that nobody's ever been shot there with all them guns
Never.
around.
All right.
Just
so
like here.
Nobody's been shot so far. The guns
Nope.
are safe, and we're going to have to take a break and say goodbye to you for now. But we will see you again.
All right.
And we do appreciate you. And here's where we can find out more. Guns in the 701 at protonmail.com. You're on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. And we'll
And
see you next time.
Show starts every Wednesday, 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain, 7
Central.
All right.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this with more Ladies of Another View on BEK.